This is the true story of the Stanford Kentucky Abductions of 1976. Like the most personal of violations, the event would continue to reverberate through the lives of its victims, long after the end of the bicentennial year. On January 6th, 3 women were taken hostage and subjected to a terrifying encounter with alien beings. It was Mona Stafford's 36th birthday. Her 2 best friends, Louise Smith and Elaine Thomas, took her out to dinner at the Redwood Restaurant. Not a single drop of alcohol was consumed. They left the restaurant at 11:15 p.m. at night in Louise's car, a Chevrolet Nova, which was 10 years old. Just outside of Stanford, on Highway 78, the women witnessed a glowing red object in a clear night sky. Mona, with her unobstructed view from the passenger seat, thought it was a plane on fire. As if drawn to the car's headlight beams, the object began to move closer. It appeared to pass them overhead, but then it turned around and followed them from behind. By this time, the identity of the object was clear to all 3. They described a gigantic form shaped like a disc with a dome on top and a series of blinding red lights around its edge. The speed of the Chevy increased, and Elaine said it was a good idea for them to run. But Louise said it was hardly she who was accelerating, and that her foot was on the brake, not the gas pedal. When the speedometer reached 85 miles an hour, Louise cried she could no longer hold the car on the road. Mona reached over to help guide the steering wheel. It seemed to be locked in place. Although every window of the Chevy was rolled up, the inside of the car was being filled with a misty fog. The mist was scalding to the exposed skin of all 3 women. They said it burned so badly that none of them could open their eyes. This is when they blacked out. Later, they woke up inside the vehicle. Louise drove the girls home. The next morning, she called the police. In addition to the burns they received, the incident seemed to have a permanent hazardous effect upon their health. In the weeks and months that followed, all 3 women would develop a habit of chain smoking. They all lost excessive weight. They could not gain it back. And they also reported periodic bouts of ferocious thirst, which no amount of liquid would satisfy. They wanted to know what happened in that period of missing time, and so gave their consent to undergo regressive hypnosis at the hands of a professional. These sessions were conducted by Dr. Sprinkel, a psychiatrist who put his practice on hold so that he could travel to Kentucky from the state of Wyoming to interview the victims after placing them under trance. Under hypnosis, Mona recalled the alien face of one of her abductors as a warm liquid was applied to her face and body. She said her abductors were about 4 feet tall. Elaine remembered the same treatment of tepid liquid and a metallic device shaped like a noose, which was dropped around her neck. If she tried to speak, the noose would tighten painfully. Louise said of the alien who examined her that its hand looked like the end of a bird wing. She said she was examined on a cold metal table. One thing common to the testimony of all three is that the aliens had no mouths. Their commands were communicated to the women by means of telepathy. On the same night, multiple sightings occurred in adjoining counties in Kentucky. Reports included a flying object shaped like a saucer, whose edge was ringed with red or orange lights. In the area where the abduction is estimated to have taken place, at 11:30 p.m., a married couple observed from the window of their house an enormous glowing object passing over the township of Stanford. Another local homeowner says that he witnessed a craft flying unusually low in the sky, which appeared to direct upon the ground a search beam of white light.